It's time for the Lovable Me Show. Based on the award-winning book series, I Am a Lovable Me. Get ready to have some fun learning with Lovable, our resident enlightening bug. Are you ready? Close your eyes and let's count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Now open them. Here we go.
Welcome to the Lovable Me Show. My name is Sharon Penchina, and I'm author of the award-winning I Am a Lovable Me books for children. We have a great show planned for you today, and thank you for joining in. Each of our shows begins with our weekly video vlog message, and today's vlog addresses how technology affects your child and what's considered to be healthy screen time. After the short video plays, be sure you stick around. I have a very special guest joining me today to share some important information regarding children's health and wellness.
Welcome to the Lovable Me weekly vlog, where you will find valuable tools and enlightenment to support your child's self-confidence and self-esteem. Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best. Bob Talbert. Technology has become a part of life for everyone, young and old. Healthy screen time for young children is about choosing quality programs and apps and developing healthy screen habits. Child development experts recommend limiting children's daily screen time. The American Academy of Pediatrics screen time guidelines state, children under 18 months should have no screen time. Children aged 18 months to 2 years can watch or use high-quality programs or apps if adults watch or play with them. Children aged 2 to 5 years should be limited to 1 hour per day. Children ages 6 and older should be determined by parents, including restrictions for time and monitoring the types of digital media used. Good quality media can be beneficial for young children's learning. Children can develop their language and literacy skills spending 15 minutes listening to an engaging book on iBooks and singing along to videos of nursery rhymes with parents. Good quality apps, games, and iBooks for young children should encourage creativity, encourage problem solving, develop communication skills, develop social skills, and build on interests. Parents need to be their children's media mentors, teaching them how to use it as a tool to create, connect, and learn. And as the main role models, it is important for moms and dads to have healthy digital media habits too. If children develop healthy screen time habits when they are young, those habits will promote better choices when they are older. And don't forget to check out our Lovable Me books in Apple iBooks, Amazon Kindle Books, and Google Play Books.
I'm very excited to have Dr. Monika Buerger as my special guest today. She currently has a private family practice in Ammon, Idaho, that is dedicated to serving those with neurodevelopmental challenges and neurodegenerative disorder. She is the pioneer in the chiropractic profession when it comes to working with children with these disorders. Dr. Monika, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to the Lovable Me Show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I love your work, and it's an honor to be here hanging out with you.
That's so wonderful to have you here. Dr. Monika, since our time is so limited and you bring a wealth of information with you, I want to jump right in with some questions to ask so that you can enlighten our audience. My first question is this. When you speak to audiences, you say that a child's behavior is a sign of the health and function of their nervous system. Can you elaborate on that topic for us?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do say that. We're an adaptable organism. Our nervous system adapts to our environment. That's the way we are able to interact with every part of our world, socially, academically, emotionally, and motor skill wise. So there is, we are every second being bombarded with sensory stimulation. And there's 5 FAR senses that everybody knows about: sight, smell, sound, touch, taste. But there's 3 near senses that come from within our body, which are huge in regulating how we interact with our environment. One is called the vestibular system, kind of our sense of balance, which really organizes all information into the brain. One is called proprioception, the sense of where our joints and muscles are in space. That's one of the reasons I love your posture book that you wrote. And one is called interoception, the sense of our viscera and organs. How does our gut feel? How does our heart feel? So these sensations come into the brain, and we need to be able to have good organization of those messages into the brain in order for us to interact appropriately with our environment. So if we're lacking organization of that information into the brain, it can be either too much information coming in, too fast, too furious, too unorganized. And I want to screen that out. It's too much chaos into my brain. I might want to just shut down and be alone and not be socializing with people. I might get very mean and defensive because I'm overwhelmed. We've all felt like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I might not have enough of that information coming into the brain, and I want it in order to be able to adapt to my environment and behave appropriately. So when I talk to teachers and parents and principals, I say, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a child that's behavior is the same, you see these patterns, or a principal sees that child in their office every week for the same behavioral misconduct, they are telling you something. They are lacking, their nervous system is lacking something that they're trying to find. So for instance, the kiddo that it can't sit in circle time or sit still in school, and they're the tornado kid, and they get in trouble because they're squiggling around all the time. They can't sit still. They might be lacking that, what we call that vestibular input to the brain. And in order for them to exist in their environment, they need that input. Or a child might be kicking the chair of the kid in front of them, or they're more aggressive, and I call them the pull, punch, push kiddos. They're looking for that deep input, that proprioception. And the thing that I love about your series is so many of these kiddos that I work with, their self-esteem is lacking because none of us want to be less than, right? None of us want to feel less than. None of us want to get in trouble. And they just can't help themselves. So their self-esteem can start to struggle. And that's some of the things we need to take into consideration with these children that struggle with sensory motor dysfunction.
Mm-hmm. So this information is really a great resource to be aware of when it comes to uncovering the possible source of a child's health challenges.
Absolutely. And that's what we always want to do as chiropractors, right? We go for the source, the roots of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's looking at the dysfunction of the nervous system and what their behavior is telling us that they're lacking. Kiddos that want to touch everybody, they don't have a good bubble space. They get in your face and are touching your hair and touching everything. They might be craving that tactile input.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what their brain is lacking. And that's what they need in order to feel comfortable in their environment.
Dr. Monika, I wondered if you could also speak to the role technology plays in learning, attention and behavioral struggles that you see children now presenting with.
Absolutely. Technology is affecting what we call the frontal lobe. that's executive functioning part of the brain. The part of the brain that is our decision maker is impulse control, is being able to initiate actions, follow through with actions, modulate our behavior, respond appropriately and rationally and reasonably. So that sensory part we just talked about, excuse me, if it's dysregulated, it's going to shut down that frontal lobe. The executive functioning goes out the window, and we can't make appropriate decisions or responses. But technology is doing the same thing. It's affecting the maturation, the development of that part of the brain. And so we're seeing children struggle with what we call executive functioning disorder, or executive functioning role or tasks. And so we see more impulse control. I say, have you ever tried to reason with somebody when you're in the middle of a heated argument?
Right.
It doesn't work very well, right? And that's what's happening with so many of these kiddos. They don't want to feel out of control. They really don't. But it's understanding what they're trying to tell us. Once you understand their language and their behavior and their responses, you can understand where their brain is lacking. And that executive functioning is an issue. So technology is shutting down that development of that frontal lobe. And so that is, we're seeing trouble with social engagement issues and knowing right from wrong and modulating behavior. And it's very addicting. Social media, tech, games are very addicting to that part of the brain. That part of the brain is responsible for dopamine. Dopamine is what drives that part of the brain, and dopamine's our feel-good drug. It's very addictive. It's our happy part of our happy drug, happy chemical. And so that's another reason we see kiddos getting addicted to technology, because they're trying to get that dopamine high. But likewise, when we take that technology away, we can have that raging bull because they're not getting that high.
It sounds like having a plan in place early on is a critical way to address this. And I wondered if there are just maybe a couple of tips that you might offer to parents or anyone who treats children or simply just loves and cares for them, that they might be aware of to sort of get started on this.
One, as far as technology goes, actually having a plan in place, having strategic times for them to engage in technology, and really limiting that time on the iPhones, on any digital devices. The American Academy of Pediatrics is going with like a 2-hour total timeline in a day, and break that into 30-minute increments. But it's critical to let your child know, have a timer. I use it in the office a lot. It's called a time timer. It's a dial, and it has a red zone that, like, you can set it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but they can see how much of that red zone on the timer is left. And then they know, okay, when that's over with, they can predict. Kids want predictability. They want to feel they have some control. If they can predict, okay, this is how much time I have left, that instead of just cutting them off, you can help avoid some of that rage. And limit it definitely to 30-minute increments. If you see your child wanting to, they want that heavy, deep pressure. They jump on couches. They jump like trampolines. They like heavy blankets. They like that deep force, that deep pressure. That can be very calming. It soothes and calms our nervous system. And things like weighted blankets, deep compression of the joints, squeezing of the joints can be very, very calming to that individual and keep them from out of what I call raging into red zone, to where they're irrational at that point.
Well,
good diet, good oxygen. Your book on breathing it's phenomenal, because those brain cells need good oxygen, and we need good posture to get good oxygen. We can do a little exercise here. Is everybody, practice sitting straight up with good posture. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and blow it out. You can feel your ribs expand. You can get that oxygen in, and that means oxygen to your brain. When you're slouched over in technology and slouched forward and you try to take a deep breath, everybody can try to do that. You're limited. Your ribs can't expand. So that's important as well.
You know, you've mentioned a few things that relate back to the work that I do in my books. You know, before we finish our talk today, I wonder if there's anything else that you might add to how, you know, positive affirmations, breathing, stretching, the types of tools that parents get from the Lovable Me books aids in helping children with these issues, in addition to what you're doing with these kids.
Absolutely. Well, one thing is you are going to know self-esteem issues with these children. So your book, your affirmations, love them. The self-esteem, love that. I advocate that every dentist's office, doctor's office, teachers, these are the kind of books, this is the message we need to share with the kiddos, hands down. So those as far as self-esteem are incredible. I love the breathing one and the posture, because posture, good posture is going to promote that proprioceptive, that calming system. It's going to promote that. It's going to promote good breathing, like we talked about. So those are incredible as well. And now, from a brain standpoint, the colors you use are incredible, because since technology's been developed in the olden days, okay, when I was young, and we had good kiddo books like these, okay, but we had to also imagine things more in our head, in our brain, when we read stories. We used the right part of our brain, which is good to develop. In the advent of technology, kiddos aren't having to do that anymore. It's on the screen for them. So your books actually bring that right brain to life. They can imagine things. They see the colors. They can cross-check left brain with right brain in that development. So all around, I see your books as a plus for those that work in the field that I work in and trying to promote good neurodevelopment.
Well, thank you so much. It's so nice of you to be so supportive of what I'm doing as well. I wondered if you could share with the audience, you know, let them know that you have an upcoming pediatric show that I think they all need to tune into. So I'd like you to share some information about that, when, where, and what it will be about.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It starts next Thursday. It's going to be the kickoff show, and it's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 Mountain Standard Time, and it's through ChiroSecure, the amazing ChiroSecure, and we're going to cover a number of pediatric topics that are going to be incredible for everybody to get good tidbits of information on.
That's terrific. Listen, I really want to thank you, Dr. Monika Buerger, for joining us today and sharing your phenomenal expertise with us. If you're watching this show on Facebook, please like our page. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And if you're watching on Periscope, please follow us. You'll find today's video on all of this information posted to our Facebook page so that you can read and share it with others. And don't forget to make sure you check out all the Lovable Me books by clicking on the Learn More button at the very end of this video. If you have a Facebook business page and you want to broadcast the show live on your page, please text the word Lovable, Lovable, to 480-360-3358. And someone will contact you to get that set up. I'm your host, Sharon Penchina, and I'll be back next week when I'll share some special thoughts on another great self-empowerment tool. Thank you for joining us, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you for watching the Lovable Me Show. Also, if you have any questions for Lovable, go ahead and ask away. Don't forget to visit us next week, right here in the Facebook bugbear.